Good evening, good morning, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the post show. Tonight, I am all by myself due to unforeseen circumstances. Stephen will not be joining us this evening. He has unfortunately had to stay in hospital with his mum, but that's not something I'm going to go into right now. Thank you for joining me tonight. I really appreciate you all being here. Good to see you, Mick. Thank you for coming along. And see Henry, always great to see you. If you stay tuned, I will be posting the link a little bit later on so we can have a chat if you want to come in. Once again, same rules apply is if you are going to come in, please make sure that you have a webcam and that you have a decent microphone. So just want to say it's been a while since I've been here. I appreciate everyone tuning in. It is really good to be back. I don't know how long this show is going to last tonight because I am by myself. More than likely, it'll be something that I just pretty much go over the show and get into a bit of detail on some things. Not 100% sure yet. Thank you, C. Henry. That's really appreciated. I'm sure he will appreciate that when he watches this back. He's been struggling a lot with it, and I really hope he's going to be okay. Last week in Wrestling Podcast. Hello, welcome to the show, my friend. Thank you, and thank you, Ricky. Mick, I can have you join in a little bit if you'd like. We'd be happy to have you join, and anyone else that wants to join. Kai, thank you so much, and same to you, Dylan. Appreciate that. This is a weird thing to do by myself because I haven't done one of these by myself in a long time. But as I said, if you want to join, please stay tuned and I will have you on the show in a little bit. You could. There is a possibility for it. But let's pretty much get right into things. Tonight's episode of Dynamite for me wasn't a super fantastic episode. However, it was an episode that definitely felt different from what they were doing the past few weeks and what has been coming from AEW. We started off with Adam Copeland opening the show in a shoot format rather than a wrestling promo style format. It was more his personal feelings rather than anything. And I think he laid it all on the line. So, sorry, Kai, you said you forgot too much. You forgot about Dynamite, too much better indie shows on tonight. Understandable. DM, it's been the stuff that's going on with his mum, so we're not going to go into that on here, though. And that's for something Stephen to bring up if he wants to. So, look, from my perspective, I think Copeland did the right thing here, coming out and shooting on the whole scenario or scene of AEW recently. I think he's really wanting to take up the mantle of, I am a company, I am part of this company, I want this company to succeed. I think it's better for the company. I think it's better for the world of professional wrestling to actually have a secondary company rather than just the one company that's around with smaller indie promotions. I think for me, the one thing about this is that he was taking up the mantle of, I am here because I want to be here, not because I wanted to, not because I wanted to be in front of millions of people. I wanted to be in this company. I wanted to see this company grow. I wanted to see how AEW succeeds, and I want to be a part of that future. Is he going to be here long term? Probably not. But he said he wants to finish his run in pro wrestling in AEW. And I think that that's really brilliant of him. I think it's something that's honest and true. And he has said to make people understand that he wasn't brought in to replace anyone or anything like that. He was brought here and he came into the show or came into the company because he wanted to, not because WWE had done something wrong by him. It was because he wanted to. I think that he definitely changed, like he definitely set a fire for the wrestlers in the back and stuff like that. I think that that was one thing that he wanted to do. So, all due respect, Phil Brooks has the right to feel the way that he feels, but he most definitely has issues. Look, you're definitely not wrong there. Phil Brooks does have a right to feel the way he feels. CM Punk definitely has the right to be pissed off at the way the company was doing things for when he was there. I think that Ariel Helwani interview did a lot of damage because people were obviously wanting to hear what Punk had to say. I think that one thing is that Punk definitely had words that he needed to put out there, and I get it. He wanted to get everything out in the open so it was clear, but it was also somewhat he wanted back in WWE anyway. So whether he was going back to AEW originally before COVID happened, or he was going to go back to WWE before COVID happened, it's one of those things. You can tell he wanted back in wrestling, and he wanted to be more into. I think he really missed the limelight of WWE. You can tell the difference in the promos and the way he spoke in both companies. So it's definitely something there. Just a big shout out to Devon. Thank you for showing up, my friend. Always good to see you. Lovely to. I hope your show went really well. I hope your upcoming shows are going really well. Let me know if you're going to be going live anytime soon, and I'll push it out and we can share that out as well. Last week in Wrestling Podcast, I also thought Edge's speech about where wrestling has Coke from going and going well was well needed, and how we should be enjoying all type of wrestling promotions. You are not wrong. You are not wrong there. Kai, however, with a lot of things, both A and W are in need of third large alternative. I'm not going to lie. CR Media in the chat. Oh shit, it's been a while. He said exactly what we've all known for 2 years. AEW is run like a friendship circle, not a company or a business trying to make money. Look, I can agree with that, but I can also see how that they are making money as well. They have been very profitable over time, but really depends on where you're looking at it. And look, no company is ever going to be super successful in their first 5 years. They're not going to make millions of dollars in their first 5 years. Tony has sold out multiple arenas. He's sold out Wembley Stadium. He's done a lot of things and given us a lot of big matches. Ariel is really biased. Nick Khan used to represent Ariel back in the day. Okay. See, I didn't know that. I didn't know that about Ariel Helwani, but I had a feeling after some of the interviews he's done previously and the way WWE hyped him as well. So Ariel has a great show, but he plays a lot of games. I think you're right. I think you are right. Also, Dylan and Chase, please check your DMs in Discord. You'll see. Please check your DMs in Discord. But I think that what what Dylan said here was that how the wrestling business has come from and is going to is definitely something that was needed to be said. We definitely do need to appreciate the fact that there are more wrestling promotions, and people need to understand that this is not about one company or the other. I don't mind watching WWE. They're not my biggest thing. Um, they, they're not my biggest thing, but at the same time, I appreciate what they do and I appreciate the longevity they had. I really do wish the best for WWE. I want to see good things coming from them, but I don't follow it as my main product. My main product that I enjoy is AEW, and I love New Japan as well. Um, I don't get to see much of TNA, unfortunately, but I'm sure that they have stuff as well. Um, you've got C. Henry says that this is part of the reason why Dana has banned Ariel from UFC events. Um, I agree. I agree. Like Ariel obviously has done things that upset people, and it will be. And he's a very controversial interviewer. He's going to bring out controversy, and he's going to bring out things that people want to hear. Yeah, whether or not you like it, different story. We've got Jake in the chat. Thank you, Jake, for showing up. I really appreciate it. Um, Chat's popping off tonight. I'm really enjoying this. Thank you, everyone, for being here. So, moving on from him talking about pro wrestling, he talks about how he's enjoying the locker room, how he's been in some of the best locker rooms that have ever to have existed in the wrestling industry, and he's really loving the first time opportunity matches and the chance to get into first time opportunity matches and end his career the way he wants to. He's not just there to steal a spot from someone else. He wants to highlight the people that are in the company. Adam is obviously a guy who's been around for over 30 years and knows his shit and knows how to work a crowd and knows how to play the games of the wrestling industry. He's clearly done this to bring himself to a different audience, an audience that may not know or will probably know his legacy, but want to see something different from him. And I'm all up for that. I'm all up for Copeland doing that. The Cope Opens are a fantastic thing in my eyes, because what they do is they give younger talent opportunities to go in with a veteran who doesn't normally who in any, like, I'm going to use WWE because most of the time it happens there. If a young talent is coming into against a veteran, they're going to turn around and the veteran's going to get the bigger showing rather than the young up and comer. Sometimes you get the flukes, but it works. This is the way. Clearly, Copeland wants to do things different, and he wants to give back to the wrestling industry. I think that obviously the crowd that was on hand tonight was very different. While they obviously enjoyed the wrestling and the show, I think that there was points where the crowd felt a bit flat in what I was watching, but I don't know 100%. I'm not sure. I wasn't there. It could have just been audio issues, especially with the whole microphone situation and stuff like that. They could have had some audio issues. I want to hark back to what Chase said. He said that what we've all known for 2 years, AEW is run like a friendship circle and not a company or a business trying to make money. I think that Tony Khan has had the time now to relegate what's going on and realize that he needs to step up and change the way he does things. I think he really needs to see this. This is a stepping stone for him and the company to go, okay, we were doing great in the first few years. We've had a bit of a lull, but we're starting to pick back up. And I think he's going to realize that we are going to have a lot more people getting eyes on the product if he puts on good quality shows and good quality entertainment. We've got Jake sending his thanks out to everyone. We've got Anastasia in the chat. Thank you, Anastasia, for joining us. So at the end of that segment, Copeland calls out Will Ospreay so Will Ospreay can have his match. Thank you, Anastasia. I'm sure that Mr. Chambers and his mama appreciate the well wishes. So Ospreay comes out. He's called to the ring. The crowd obviously loves Ospreay. Ospreay is great, in my opinion. I think he is one of the best signings that AEW has done in the past few years. I'm keen to see him in at any time he's in the ring. We get him versus Will Hobbs. Obviously, they're currently in the same faction in the Don Callis family. Got some notes here of where Hobbs slammed Will Ospreay into the steps, into the steel steps, and you had Don Callis going, he's the golden boy, that Hobbs probably shouldn't be doing that. Then he did the overhead release onto the announce table, and later in the match, obviously, Ospreay wins via the hidden blade. We get some tension here at the end of the match. We get some tension with Will Ospreay and Will Hobbs, because obviously Hobbs is pissed that he lost, and we're going to get some interesting things there. C. Henry says, I think some of the ex-WWE guys that were signed, like Phil, Miro, Andrade, and Black, had brought some problems to AEW. Black, I don't agree with, but Andrade and Miro, I can see where you're coming from. I think with Black, he wants to protect his character, which is completely understandable. He doesn't want to constantly lose like he did in the E. With Malachi, his character is the dark character. His character is the one that should have that bit of protection and that little bit of mystery to it, and it should be something that they go, okay, we're going to protect you, but you can be vulnerable at times. And I think that's what's coming up on Rampage. We're going to have a match where it's going to be Black is going one-on-one with Christopher Daniels. But Christopher Daniels going to win? Probably bloody not. But we're going to have Malachi being the guy and protecting his character. So different stories. Going back to the match, at the end of the match, after Ospreay and Hobbs have their little tiff, Ospreay's on his way out of the ring, and we get Danielson coming out just to play a little bit of psychological games, and we go and throwing some psychology at Will Ospreay. I am going to be joined in a minute by my good friend and someone that I haven't worked with in a long time. Let's bring him in now, shall we? Mr. Chase.
Wow, this is bringing back some memories here.
A long time, my friend. A long time. How are you, my dude?
I'm good, man. I am tired, beat. And then when you were like, hey, I'm going to send you this link, I was like, well, shit, I guess I got to go. Go get, presentable and stuff. I ain't had a haircut in months, so I had to go find my hat.
You own a wrestling promotion now. You don't need to look presentable.
Gosh, I wish that was the only thing that I was doing. But yeah,
How is
man.
your how is your business
How,
going?
it's good, man. It's good. It's working. I've got I got a business partner who's, I use the term very loosely, family. So
Yep.
that's always lots of fun. And I'm being sarcastic. It's not fun. So, look at Kai. Kai's trying to pitch me a bunch of stuff.
Of course,
Yeah.
Kai always does.
Well, Kai's not the only one. If I had a nickel for every single time somebody messaged me and they're trying to help, Kai actually really is helping though. So
Is
Kai
Kai
is not.
pitching? Is Kai pitching the Dustin match from WCW back in the day?
No.
The one where he almost.
Whereas Kai is actually helping. I have a lot of people who are helping.
Yeah.
And so he said, pick up the truck on May 9th. Jesus.
Jake has been watching Dynamite. He thought it was a really good show, and now chilling watching the post Dynamite show. Back to the almost OG post Dynamite show.
Almost.
Yes. The first ever episode was with Josh, wasn't it?
It was the prelude to the I-70 hot tag.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And speaking of the hot tag, we do the hot tag periodically now. It's no longer a weekly episode thing.
So, okay. I'm guessing, obviously, because you're a bit more busy with the
and it was just, and being a promoter and trying to do that in the same thing, it gets kind of, ground gets a little shaky, but
100%. It would do like bringing back that and trying to run that as the same time as being a promoter / owner, and trying to manage everyone and make sure you've got everything right for the shows and booking and all that shit would be hectic as hell.
Yes. Yes.
Yep. I am so disappointed though that I missed out on your first event, but I see that you had a sold out show.
We did. It was a great killer show, and I couldn't have been more happy with it. So
Kai's throwing the pitch here. He should have probably done this in private message, but he's throwing the pitch on a live platform.
All right.
Announced for the tournament. Everyone expects him to win because Casey only knows one person who can be champion, and have him lose in the first round.
That I will keep that in mind, sir.
C. Henry says, congratulations on your sold out show.
I appreciate that. I
have been watching it on YouTube, so I've been catching up on it.
It was lots of fun. So
it definitely looked like. I was happy.
Dynamite though, man. I'll tell you what, man, it was the first time in a while that I think I've been able to sit down and watch a full episode of Dynamite live.
Yeah.
Usually I'll catch it on the DVR, and of course I'll kind of skim through the parts that I'm not like real too interested in.
See Henry
Raz versus ABJ in a hair versus hair match.
Fucking hell.
That would be dope.
That would be dangerous.
But somebody's got to take the L. Somebody's got to do business.
We'll shave your head instead.
Yeah, there you go.
We can't do Josh's. This is already short.
Yeah, you can't do Josh's. So,
we'll wax Josh's back.
Yes. Yeah. I'll never get over commentary going, this is a family friendly show, only for 15 seconds later to scream Gary fucking J. Yeah. Yeah.
Not wrong.
It was funny because I had somebody complain about the commentary and I was like,
yeah.
Yeah. He was like, I didn't know who was supposed to be the heel and who was supposed to be the face. And I was like, hey, just shut the fuck up and watch it.
Yeah. Like, you can learn from watching. Learn from watching rather than, like, the commentary should just
And it's not that deep.
add an extra to give you that layer, but
Yeah.
it's learn from watching.
Yeah. My commentary team killed it. And so for somebody to be like, I didn't know who was the fit. I didn't like it because I didn't know who just shut the fuck up and watch it. All right. Can I cuss on this show? Am I allowed to?
Go for your
Is that
fucking life.
okay? All right. I wasn't sure if this was ABJ. I went on ABJ's show a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And it was the day he got monetized.
Oh yeah.
YouTube. And I jump on there and I like dropped a bunch of F-bombs and
Look,
like
I'm not
in the middle of it, ABJ was like, well, there goes my monetization. I was like, shit, I didn't get the memo.
No, I'm not gonna stop people from cussing. If they want to cuss, that's up to them. Obviously, just keep it like civil. Don't attack anyone personally.
Yeah, no.
that's my only thing.
Yeah. I've already gotten in enough trouble for that.
You were saying this was your first chance to actually sit down and watch it live properly.
Yeah.
A long time.
Yeah.
What did you think of the overall?
I thought it was a great show. I'll tell you what, while I 100% agree, I wouldn't say 100%. I'll back up. While I agree 91%, 90% with CM Punk on what he said on with Ariel Helwani, I think that I think the best thing for AEW to have done was to send a vet, a legend, a solidified star like Adam Copeland out there to say that stuff. Because regardless of anything, unlike John Moxley, and unlike Miro and some of the other guys in AEW that have been there since towards the very beginning, Adam Copeland never said anything negative about WWE on his way out. So
no, he didn't.
To have guys like him and Bryan Danielson and I was going to say Jericho, but I'll pass. But guys like Danielson and guys like Moxley to go, or not Moxley, but Danielson and Adam Copeland to go out there and say those things. I thought it was a great way to start the show off and just say, hey, like, this is what we're doing over here. And that's what they're doing over there. And we're going to keep this truck going and whatnot. The one thing that the one thing that I'm really, really loving from AEW talent is their consistency or their diligence to continue to remind people that, hey, like, we're doing this over here, they're doing that over there. Watch what you want to watch, like what you want to like.
100%. Like, and that's
freedom.
The thing.
Freedom of speech is real big over here in America, right? Everybody wants their freedom of speech, blah, blah. But, at the end of the day.
That's the thing about wrestling. At the end of the day is each person can find something that they enjoy in any company. Like, there's people who enjoy the stuff that TNA puts out. There's people who enjoy what New Japan puts out. There's Kai who loves fucking Stardom.
Yeah.
And that's Kai's go-to thing. Like there's so much out there that if you can't find it in one company, go find it in another. Don't shit on the product because it's not something you enjoy. Go seek what you enjoy.
And what a wild fucking like ride, because we do have so many options because of the internet, because of streaming, because of, you know, all that other stuff. I mean, let's just completely take the idea of Tony Khan and AEW starting to be an alternative to WWE in the age of, like I said, in the age of streaming and the internet of how it is. Kai can watch Joshi wrestling. We can watch New Japan. We can watch all those things and we can enjoy it. So it's just like mind boggling to me that there's people out there that will complain and wish for a company to go out of business, whether it's WWE or AEW. Like cut the tribalism. Like we're in a crazy time where if you don't like it, turn it off and go watch something on demand, whatever you want. And there's all types out there.
As I said in the beginning of this episode, like I may not be a massive fan of WWE, but there are some things that I do enjoy from them. Like I ain't gonna lie, I sat there just this morning and watched the Bray Wyatt documentary. Fucking bawled my eyes out because
oh my god, dude,
that documentary was so heartfelt, and you know that they could have easily done a 5-6 hour documentary on him.
Yeah,
but they broke it down to almost 2 hours, and it was like, holy shit, you got to see things that you don't normally get to see within a company.
Yeah.
And Bray Wyatt's always been one of my favorites. And I think that seeing that, it closed that chapter. Do I miss him? Fuck yeah. Am I going to miss him for a long time? Hell yeah. But at the same time, watching that documentary, I was like, it shows that how loved he was and how much he cared about the profession, that he wasn't just here for the WWE. He was here to make an impact as an artist.
Yeah.
In the industry.
Like I said, there is, streaming. You can watch little bingo hall shows with 50 to 100 people in attendance. They've got IWTV, they've got Pro Wrestling TV, they've got High Spots TV, all these things that allow you that. And then, like I said, you can watch wrestling from all the way across the world on YouTube or whatever streaming service you want. So it's
like you watch High Tension Network.
Yeah, I mean it's a crazy time to be a wrestling fan.
100%. And
the best part is that the crazy's good, right? We're not like crazy, like, oh my gosh, like we only have one thing to watch. There's 10 hours. Remember when WWE had 10 hours of television, but WWE was the only choice. It wasn't the only choice, but it was hard because
TNA was on an obscure cable channel and barely airing over here in Australia and all that shit. Wrestling, it has gotten a lot more global. It has become a global thing that people can watch and get together and enjoy. Like, we don't just sit there anymore in our lounge rooms with friends. We sit there in our lounge rooms with friends, but we also sit there in Discords. We have chat rooms. We have fucking multiple YouTube channels that are dedicated to pro wrestling. And multiple content creators that have worked their ass off to put their love of the wrestling business out there. And that's what this industry has changed into. It's moved into a thing where if you haven't seen something and someone recommends it to you, you can go back and look at it. Like, You can go back and look at the old footage of Hulk Hogan in New Japan back in the day. You can go see The Undertaker wrestling back in the early 90s. You can go see the best matches of Will Ospreay and all that sort of shit. You don't have to just go and watch the current product.
Yeah. It's a great time to be a wrestling fan, and like I said, just to kind of revert back and kind of put this thing on the tracks, if you will.
Yeah.
That was kind of what Adam Copeland was coming out there to say is we're having fun over here,
yeah, we're having
he doesn't
fun.
speak, he doesn't speak, yeah, he doesn't speak for everybody, but
we're
for
having fun.
him
We're doing what we
himself.
can.
Yeah.
And if you like what we're doing, you keep watching and we'll keep growing. If you don't like it, that's your choice. Move over to the other shows and enjoy what they're doing.
Yep. Exactly.
So getting our show back on track, just like we got off track because obviously you joined me. We're up to the second match,
Definitely
which
my
was
fault.
Danielson. It's fine. When didn't we get off track?
Heard that. Wish I didn't, but I did.
I have not heard that in a long time. Oh, bloody hell, of course it does. My keyboard has been fucking me over today. First in Discord. And
sticky keys.
Oh, shit. So we're up to the second match. I'm not going to live this down. We're up to the second match, Danielson versus Lance Archer. What did you think of this match, Chase?
I thought it was good. I mean, I get weirded out when people like a lot of people always criticize, how Lance Archer's used and whatnot.
Yeah.
I can't fathom a guy like Lance Archer being unstoppable forever in a promotion like AEW. If you put Lance Archer WWE, I think they could book him anywhere between like Dijak, or they could book him on the main thing.
Stop giving away my secrets.
Absolutely.
And
yeah, exactly. He was in WWE and he didn't do much. So
yeah, but they didn't know how to use him at that point. And I think you're right. Like Lance Archer in AEW can only be made to look strong for so long.
Exactly.
And that's the same with any big monster guy in any big promotion, really. They can only be made to look strong for so long.
Yeah, but I think what we're used to with WWE and this is, obviously things have changed in WWE quite a bit. Maybe, I don't know. Who knows? That's a different argument for a different time. But I think history has shown us in WWE that regardless of how long it works, they decide on how long they want that to go. Whereas I think in AEW, it doesn't run its course quite the same way, which is why you've seen guys like Miro who excelled, tremendously in WWE, and then kind of plateaued like we expect all those kind of guys to do in WWE, and then goes to AEW, and then AEW kind of there's no knock on guys like Archer, guys like Rusev and stuff like that. They're phenomenal athletes. They're great wrestlers. They're great in ring. They're more than just a big monster. But way AEW books and the way AEW,
Yeah, it's
structures.
more about telling the story in the ring, and rather than a traditional storyline and being force fed that this guy is a monster and that this guy is, you've got
But
to
that's
believe
what,
that this guy can
but
break your
that's what,
neck.
but that's what Lance Archer is, though.
Yeah,
So I just think that I think that Lance Archer using what he has done in New Japan, and other places works for him. I don't think it'll work in AEW.
I think.
Just because, like I said, we've seen how AEW books those big
Yeah,
monster type guys, regardless of how talented they are in the ring. Um,
yeah.
you know, one of
I
my
think
favorite
for me,
one of my favorite stories to tell in the ring is the big versus the little, right?
yeah,
You go back to old school WCW, and you got Kevin Nash and Rey Mysterio and
the
you know,
production truck.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Like, Nash was the one that unmasked him, and
yeah,
they had a great X-Pac and Kane.
yeah.
I love the big monster guy versus the little guy stories or whatever,
Yeah.
but I
But at the
just don't
same
think that's
time,
AEW style.
no, it's not. And I think for me, with Lance Archer, is a lot for me is that takes me out of it with him is he has a very similar way he works. And I've got to be careful in the way I say this because I'm not saying it's his wrestling ability, it's the way you can see he waits and looks for the moves. And it's very similar to what Lex Luger did back in the day. And Lex Luger, you could tell, was looking for the moves, looking for when someone was going to hit him. And it takes me out of that moment. And
Yeah.
that's what Lance Archer is sort of doing as well. I've
Yeah.
noticed.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it was um his feud with Hangman Adam Page, and it just
Yeah,
felt like at the time there was so many guys that they were trying to push as like the big monster type.
yeah,
And you've seen what they've done with those. Your Brian Cages,
yeah.
your Lance Archers, your Will Hobbs, your
Your
Miro.
Wardlow.
Yep, Wardlow, perfect example. Another perfect example. Um, you know, Wardlow was on top of the world, and they literally, yes, the weird tramp stamp doesn't help either. I think
You're
that
not
is weird.
fucking wrong. You're not wrong there, T. Henry.
Listen, man, listen. I don't give a shit what
But
or how you live your life, but there is just something weird when I see uh,
a tramp
tramp
stamp.
stamps are weird regardless, but
Yeah,
to see them on like,
on the
wrestlers
on
and
big
like,
big built dudes.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
It's like,
Not even just
it's like,
wrestlers, on big built dudes in general. Yeah,
yeah, it's almost like Batista and his belly button piercing and his belly button tattoo.
yeah, yeah. It looks weird because it's not something you normally see. Like
No, 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 no.
if Lance Archer's whole
Yeah, not a
back
bad
was
thing. It's
full,
just
then
kind of it's not a bad thing. It kind of just throws you off because you're like, wait a second, why are you wrestling with a belly button tattoo?
yeah.
Or not a belly button tattoo, a belly button piercing. Why are you wrestling
And
with a belly button piercing?
Kai says, and I think that's the hardest part for me to enjoy AEW with. Booking seems less what makes sense with the story, and more so winners are
Yeah.
chosen at random, but in back and forth booking for serious feuds. But the way they do it is more like one person loses a feud and they have to win the next and alternate like that, and it really takes me out of it.
Yeah.
Look,
Um,
some they have definitely done that. I'm not going to lie. When Punk and MJF were having Punk and Moxley had the feud over the belt. The fact that they hot potatoed the title between the two of them in their hometowns was just fucking stupid.
Yeah.
That was like, I thought that was fucking stupid. You devalue the title in doing that.
Yeah. I agree. I thought that was an odd choice, and you know, I I just think, I don't want to go too off the rails, although I know we expect it.
It'll get there.
I
It'll get
saw
there.
I saw a meme online, and I thought it was amazing. It talked about how Tony Khan should have already been on his phone to call Scott D'Amore to come help book.
Yeah.
Because I mean, hey, listen, man, I get it. Trust me, I get it. There ain't nothing. There ain't nothing
Because you
that
can't
pisses me
please
off.
everyone. Yeah.
Yeah. There ain't nothing that pisses me off more than when somebody tries to tell me how to book.
Yeah.
And let me preference that by saying, like, somebody who knows what they're doing, somebody who like has a history of it, but like
Yeah.
some normal Joe Schmo's like, hey, you should have done this instead of doing that. And I'm like, hey, go fucking buy a wrestling ring, go start an LLC, and go run your own show. So I get it, but at the same time,
yeah.
At the same time, I think that some or somewhere along the lines, Tony needs to accept the fact that he is doing too much at once,
100%.
and those things need to be delegated. And I cannot believe that Scott D'Amore wasn't called the day he was let go by Anthem. Cannot believe it.
Yeah, like, he should have been called and brought into the company, and if it didn't start straight away, make it start from Dynasty or fucking something like that. Make it start go from here. We are building a dynasty, and this is how we're starting it.
Yeah,
like
agreed.
Scott D'Amore is your general manager of AEW, or your like the guy who's the president of AEW or some. You don't even have to use general manager. Use president. Use something. Whatever.
He doesn't have to be an on-screen. Yeah, he doesn't have to be an on-screen thing. I'm totally cool with them just posting the Scott D'Amore's All Elite graphic, and then announcing he has a backstage role. Does it piss you off more of the way somebody approaches you about your booking more so than their opinion? Well, I've only ran one show, but I did have, I did have some people that were like, I would have actually have done this, and I'm like, oh wow, that's really cool. I appreciate your input. I'll think about that next time.
At this time next year, come back and ask that same question.
Yeah,
and Chase will have a bona fide answer for you.
Yeah. No, the only people, there was only a couple of people that did stuff like that. The main people that did it was, of course, obviously the talent. I had a talent driving like 6-7 hours to get there, and they called me on their way there, and they were like, so what do you got me doing? And I'm like, well, I got you doing this, this, and this. Okay. Who do you got going over? So-and-so, because we're going to send the people home happy. And they were like, And then when I saw them, they were like, hey, I was actually thinking about this. And I'm like, that's cool.
You can think about it, but it doesn't mean I'm changing my mind.
Give me 10 minutes and I'll come back.
It's like, you can think about it, but it doesn't mean I'm changing my fucking mind.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm staying with what I want and I think is going to work best for the company.
I've had this show booked for 4 months and how I wanted it to go. So please understand.
Yeah.
Just because you drove a while doesn't mean I'm going to change it.
Like, obviously you're not sending them home with a hot dog and a handshake, but
I wish Josh was here to hear you say that. we have a little bit of an issue with Fountain City. Not a little bit of an issue. I'm joking.
Is that because they wouldn't give hot dogs?
No. Josh is my P&L guy. He's my profit and loss guy. And Josh shit a brick on how high my budget was for the first show. And now he's shitting another brick. Like I literally have a message from Josh that says, please, can you stay to the fucking budget in July? And I'm like, I promise I'll stay to the budget in July. He goes, dude, we're not going to like excel if you keep going over budget every single show. And I'm like, yeah, but it's really, really fun.
I mean, look, I think as an indie promotion and as a small company, it's a bit different for you guys to work to a budget. You have to try and stick into that budget.
Absolutely.
Whereas if you had Tony Khan's fucking funds, I'm pretty sure you'd be trying to fucking set the gym on fire and shit like that. So
yeah, no, we would be doing
when you're bringing in Venny.
I don't know. I don't have a clue.
Maybe
I have to figure out how I can pay these Kansas City and St. Louis guys. One of my guys that helps out, he's in our ownership group, if you will. He his favorite thing to do is to like, hey, we need to get Brittany Brooks, we need to get Vert Vixen, we need to get so and so. And I'm like, listen, man, I'm indulging and I'm getting Shaza McKenzie for you. All right, leave me alone.
And look, Vert's been on TV lately, and her price is probably going up.
Well, it's not, and I was telling ABJ this. God, dude, we're way off track. Of course we are. I was telling ABJ this. The main issue is that, and it's not an issue. My thing is I want everybody to get paid.
100%.
I had some kids from a shindy place here in Kansas City, who messaged us like 2 weeks before the show and were like, hey, we just want to come help set up. And I get it, man. It's part of paying your dues and stuff. But like, I told those kids, I was like, you weren't included in the budget, and I appreciate you coming and helping, but I can't pay you. And they're like, oh, don't worry about it. And I'm like, no. So I got them a spot on the next card because like my thing is I want everybody to get paid. Nobody should be doing this for hot dogs and a handshake. I had one guy tell me his booking fee was $30 fucking dollars. I was like, I'm not paying you $30. Like, I'm not.
That's not even an hour's worth of work. Like,
bro, like you step wrong in the ring and you tear your ACL, like
for $30.
For $30. Like, I'm not paying you $30. That's outrageous.
Yeah. No. And look, I know you're not expecting to pay fucking the millions of dollars or even thousands of dollars to the wrestlers, but you're expecting to pay them at least something to go, okay, you came here to this show, you put in the fucking effort, and here's a reward for coming along and thank you, as a thank you of going, hey, this is what I appreciate about you. It's not that I've just spent $50,000 on so-and-so to come here and they didn't put butts in seats.
Yeah. Wonder what if they work for a buffet and a hug?
It's better than a hot dog and a handshake.
Kai, if you really want to work that bad, I'll put you in a match. I'll put you in a match with Sam Stackhouse.
I thought you were going to say that you were flying me over. for the show.
No, and like so the thing is now is like, you know, if they're more than a short drive away or
Yeah,
even a long drive. Like I said, I had one guy who drove like 6 hours. Um, some guys are like, "Hey, this is my rate," which is extremely affordable.
yeah,
Um, I won't say names that because I don't want to do that. So let's
yeah,
say a well-known champion in an indie-ish promotion. That's what
yeah.
I'll say. Somebody who's well known. Um, I had asked them
I know
what their
who it is.
yeah, I asked them what their rate was, and they were like, "Hey, it's $350," which for that person is very, very respectable. Like,
Yeah,
that's fair for who they are. They're internationally known, they're a champion, etc.
yeah,
But then they were like, but also flight and hotel. Well, now your $350 rate just turned into an $800 rate.
if not
'Cause
more, if
yeah,
not
because
more. Yeah,
a hotel for one night is over $100. Because
yeah,
I'm not gonna
well,
because again, I want everybody to get paid.
yeah, and you're going to
So
put them in a decent
I'm not
hotel.
gonna put you in a Roach motel. I'm gonna put you in a
Yeah,
Hilton for, so that's $100 a night. And then a or a round trip flight is more than your rate. Like I said, I'm now looking at $600, $700 to book that person. And
yeah,
so starting off, because I am like trying to build something, I'm not trying to go broke.
yeah,
Although Josh might argue differently. Josh might argue a little bit differently, but I'm not trying to go
yeah,
broke. So those are the things that like kind of, you have to dip your toes in. You have to establish yourself, and then
yeah,
once people are you know people are coming, people are paying, people are consistently showing up and supporting, and
yeah.
you prove to sponsors and stuff like that, then maybe in a year or so, maybe I can call somebody like that and be like, hey, come, I'd love for you to come work the show. So
But you also have to look at the value that they're going to bring, and if they are going to bring extra butts to the seats that are going to stick around for the
absolutely,
next show, and
absolutely,
are those butts going to stick to the seats for the next 4 shows where there is no big name,
absolutely.
and then that fifth show you have that big name again, like
Yeah.
you
So
need
here's the
because
thing: like if I book a bigger place,
yeah,
um, and I'm still only drawing 350 people, and
you're
I
losing
go
money.
throw it, yeah, um, and I go throw. Let's. I'll say his name because he's well known. Let's say
Yeah,
Mustafa Ali. Mustafa Ali.
yeah,
For anybody wondering, if you want to start a promotion, you want to book a show or whatever, Mustafa Ali's asking rate is $3,000. Okay.
yeah,
So if I spend $3,000 to book Mustafa Ali against one of my guys, number one, Mustafa's gonna want to go over. He's
100%. Yeah,
absolutely, and that's fair. He's earned that right. Um, but you've paid Mustafa Ali $3,000. Are you going to make that $3,000 back
the only way
on
because
top of
the only
the
way you do is, and people wonder why your ticket price then goes up. Instead
yeah,
of it being $20, it
yep,
now is $35. So
yep,
you've got to put your ticket prices up. You've got to go, okay, I've put the ticket price up. Now maybe the concessions at like your drinks and your food, if you're making any money off that, which you're probably bloody not, because it's probably not in-house run.
well,
Um,
it is kind of sort of, but
yeah,
I
but
will
you've
say
still got
this,
to pay them.
yeah,
You've
I
still
will
got to
say
pay
this,
the workers for that.
yeah, it saved my
And
ass at
like,
the end of the night because at the end, so here's what happened. I took all the ticket sales out of the bank. And
yep,
well, when I did that, they gave me they gave me it all in hundreds. And I didn't think about it. So at the end of the night, when it was time to pay guys, all I've got is hundreds.
Yeah. And you're sitting. I bet you when you took it out, you went home and threw it on the bed and just lay in it for a moment.
No,
just for that moment.
No. Yeah. I wish it was like that, but no. At the end of the night, when I had to pay the talent, all I had was hundreds, and so that was kind of an issue. Just because luckily my wife is much smarter than I am. She at 10 o'clock at night or at 9:45, because we got out of there. The show was over by 10 o'clock. So at 9:45, my wife was like, I'll go figure something out. She's got roughly $3,500 in $100 bills.
Fuck.
And she was gone for like 20 minutes. And then she came back. Raz, over here in America, we have these shows called Extreme Couponers. Have you ever seen?
I know the show. I know the show. Yep.
My wife is an extreme couponer. So, not pertaining to this, but I like to think that she was able to figure this out because of extreme couponing. She went to Walmart and did the self-checkout. And so what she would do is at Walmart during the self-checkout, she'd buy a little piece of candy for $1 and then do the cash. And then do the cash back option.
$100. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh no.
And she was like, the workers at Walmart watched me do it to like 8 different kiosks. But she came back. She came back with a bunch of little candy eggs, like Hershey's or Reese's eggs, and we had change broken down to pay everybody, so it worked out.
That's amazing, dude. That is amazing.
Yeah.
That is amazing though. Like, but that just goes to show, like, as you said, it's who's taking this? Oh, Jesus.
Are we really? Oh.
I think ABJ's drunk, but or high, one of the two. Or both. He's probably both.
Yeah. Listen, Raz, let me tell you something, buddy. My titties are so big that you would get flagged for nudity on here. My rate for 13 hours of helping you out was that one Cadbury egg. Oh, shit. Yes, indeed.
Oh, this show has definitely gone off the rails.
Poor DM. DM's like, I thought this was the Dynamite post show.
This show goes off the rails so fucking quickly. It's hilarious. You just got back.
Just got ABJ, to the Airbnb.
Look, I know ABJ, you're probably not going to be able to, but I'll send you the link anyway. He's going to come in here and he's going to be like, fucking, I don't know anything. See Henry with, I thought ABJ was straight edge. The fuck's a Dynamite?
It's a recap.
Fuck. Oh shit. We should probably try and get back on track to the show.
We should.
We were talking about Danielson versus Archer.
I was. ABJ came in and said, "Take off your shirt." So I was like, "Fuck it, let's do it."
You came back to the before the midnight hour. So
yes, that's right.
It was just a tease. It's just a tease. Once it hits midnight, then it's a completely different story.
Yeah.
If you come to America, remember it's hair versus hair.
Let's do it.
I'm not allowed to come to America then. I'm not allowed to come to America. I'm fucked if I do. Where were we? Danielson versus Archer. That's
Yes.
we were talking about how Lance Archer reminded me of Lex Luger.
Correct.
And that's how it. I don't have the money right now to do that. But I hear Chase is going to. I hear Chase is willing to fund it, especially if I'm going to take a slap in the middle of the ring for him.
Yeah, it depends on how well this next show does.
Ask Josh if it's in the budget.
Yeah, right. I can only imagine.
He'd be like, "Fuck no." He'd be like, "I love Raz, but fuck no." Anyway, Danielson obviously wins this match with the Berserker knee. Good match, good showing for Archer, in my opinion, to actually get some showing on Dynamite. We next had Jericho come out and call out Hook. Pointless segment. What do you think there, Chase?
I think that they want to push this, Hook and Jericho thing really. And I don't know, man. I just obviously I'm really sour on Jericho. And then
I think everybody's really sour on Jericho at the moment.
Yeah.
And I've said this before in the post show. I think Jericho needs to go away for a while.
I think he does too. I think he does too. And I think that unfortunately Sting kind of inspired him and stuff like that to work longer.
Yeah. I think I don't think he needs to stop wrestling. I think it's more that he needs to go away for a while and give people a chance to miss him.
Yeah,
give
absolutely
us that opportunity to miss him, because while he's still here, while he's still throwing that in, it's looking fucking pathetic.
They it's a perfect PR move. That's what I'm looking for. It's a perfect PR move. Like, you got a guy who was accused of doing some shitty shit, and instead of keeping around, you should send him home for a little bit, and then when people aren't so sour on him, you can pull him back. I'm not saying Jericho's guilty. I'm not saying Jericho's not guilty. That's not for me to decide. I can tell you what I think, but what I think doesn't matter at the end of the day. What matters, what is going to happen is, AEW is going to do what they want to do, and how they handled it wasn't the best way that it should have been handled, in my opinion. So,
Kai asks, speaking of that, did you hear the shit about Drew Gulak?
Yes,
and Ronda Rousey.
I did.
Thoughts on that?
I obviously Ronda didn't like it and didn't appreciate it. So, there's that part of it. Do I think that I don't know Drew Gulak? I don't know if he's a piece of shit. Maybe Drew had done that. Maybe Drew had done something like that with some other talent. He thought it was okay, and I mean, we've all been in situations with people where they thought that it was okay to cross some boundaries, and it wasn't. It was a pulling on a drawstring. I didn't read the full story, so I could be completely wrong. All I read is that he pulled on her drawstring, on her pants or her shorts or whatever. And like I said, if that If that's that,
If it was a one-off, it's a different. If it was just a one-off, it's a different story too. As if it's a multiple occasion thing. And look, even if it's a one-off and she didn't like it, completely understandable that she's fucking thrown shade at him in regards to that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if he's then learnt and gone, well, okay, it's not the right thing to do, and obviously I won't do that sort of thing again. Kai has come back with, at first I was like, well, it's Ronda and she's been saying some super obvious lies lately, so I'm skeptical. And then Drew was like, it was an accident, bro. So it could be a situation where you're right. He may have done it to others previously and they're okay with it. Or it might have been a once-off situation or a complete accident. We don't know. We don't know the dynamics of it all.
The biggest things about those situations is, you can sit there and say, well, that's not that big of a deal, right? Well, it's not a big deal to you, but it's a big deal to somebody. So
100%.
I think that I think that stuff like that is especially going to be looked under a microscope, as it should be right now, because of everything that's going on in the E. So
yeah. Getting back to where we were. Oh God, here we go. His statement was that he went for a handshake and caught her drawstring by accident, which doesn't make sense given the height difference. Yeah, look, it's more. You can't. It's.
Yeah.
I don't want to touch on it too much because it's not something that is technically relevant to this show. But you are right. Like, it's one of those situations where it may not be offensive to us, but it's offensive to her.
Yeah.
It may not be.
And that's what and to kind of bring this full circle, not full circle, but a little circle, not full, a little circle. We were talking about, I heard you talking about the Punk and Ariel Helwani thing. And this is a perfect example of it. Whereas it may not be offensive to her, or it may not be offensive to us. We just think, oh yeah, he just accidentally pulled on her drawstring. It's not like he pulled her pants down or made a joke or I mean, did something inappropriate. It was just a pull of the drawstring, right? But to her, it's inappropriate. To her, it was offensive. To her, she felt uncomfortable. And that's what we have to remember is that there's three sides to every story, right? There's your side, there's their side, and there's what actually happened. And it's the same thing with the Ariel Helwani and CM Punk thing. Whereas some people look at AEW and they're like, hey, this is a really fun place to work. And then some other people look at AEW and they go, yo, this is a joke. This isn't a real business. This is, like what Punk said. And there's aspects that people can understand about that. But I just think that I think it's a culture thing in WWE.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that I'm hoping for future that it changes the culture. Because I'll be completely honest with you. I was going to go to WrestleMania this year. And I sold my tickets. And I wasn't going to rebuy them. But I sold them when that whole thing came out, and I was like, yo, like I've got a daughter. I'm not okay with spending. I'm not okay spending thousands of dollars to go see something that supports a human being like that. This was at the beginning of the year, because obviously the idea and the goal was just to go to Mania every year, right?
100%,
I think what I'll do going forward is I probably won't go to Mania, but I'll probably go for Mania week and go to all the different indie shows and stuff like that. Cause I had a blast last year when I did that. Of course I enjoy going to WrestleMania. If you're a wrestling fan, that's what you want to do. Right. WrestleMania is always the dream, right?
You're not wrong. You're not fucking wrong. And look, I ain't gonna lie. I would still like to attend a WrestleMania, but in saying that, I wouldn't mind just being in the town for what is going on at that time, for the events that are going to be taking place. Like last year when you went to Ring of Honor Supercard.
Yeah.
And you got to see a broken fucking ankle. Like live and in person. Like, and
but I
all
mean
that sort of stuff.
It's not just ROH. I mean, like
you've got PCW, you've got all these little indie promotions running events and everything going on.
Yeah, I went to some of the collective. I didn't go to all the collective. I went to some.
You went to the big gay brunch, didn't you?
I did not. I went to DDT Pro and I went to I went to Joey Janela's Summer Bash. I didn't leave. Right. I didn't leave the Ukrainian Culture Center, which is where those events are held in LA. I didn't leave there until 4:00 in the morning, California time.
Fucking Christ. Like because you were going to go to the big gay brunch, weren't you?
I was going to try. I was going to try, man. I did so much that week. It was crazy. So I went to DDT Pro, which was Kid Bandit's promotion. The day I got there. And then I went to the collective. And then which was those two nights. Best Gout Machine. On TikTok. I met Best Gout Machine there.
Nice.
And then Friday, I can't remember what I did Friday. Friday I went to Supercard of Honor. And then Kid Bandit's promotion is Pandemonium. It was a great fucking show. Great show. And Kid Bandit is amazing. I walked up to them and I was like, hey, killer show. And then they got like real close and they were like, I'm not supposed to do this because I'm a bad guy, but I appreciate that. That means a lot. And I was like, cool. So
you met Rikishi, didn't you?
I did. I got a shirt from Rikishi at WrestleCon.
It was at WrestleCon.
Yeah, I showed up to WrestleCon right as Rick Steiner got kicked out. As I was walking in to go to WrestleCon, Rick Steiner is putting his sunglasses on and carrying his bags out. He got kicked out.
Oh shit.
Well,
that's fair. Going back to the show that we are supposed to be talking about, because we are now an hour and 20 minutes into this, and we're only just finishing the third fucking segment of the show.
Yes.
We get Lion Hook versus STP announced for Collision. That makes no fucking sense, but okay.
I'm sure it'll make sense somewhere.
I'm sure down the line it will. We then move into Billy Gunn versus Jay White. They fight into the crowd. Eventually, they get back in the ring. Jay begs off and asks Billy Gunn to scissor him. Billy Gunn doesn't obviously accept. We see a video. We see up on the screen that the Acclaimed has been attacked backstage. Billy grabs a chair. As he goes to grab the chair, Colton and Austin come out to save Jay. Jay hits a low blow on Billy, causing a DQ, and then the Acclaimed make the save from the attack by the Bullet Club.
Call me selfish, but I'm not ready to see like the Acclaimed and Billy Gunn like split up. So I just generally gravitate to what they're doing. I'm not a huge fan. I'm really not a huge fan of, Jay White being being subjected to like this mediocrity.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like he looks like he's having fun. So, and that's what matters.
Whoever attacked Max Caster is based as fuck. You know it was the guns. You have to know that.
Yeah.
But anyway, next we move.
Was it the Guns or was it Billy Gunn?
Well, it couldn't have been Billy Gunn. He was in the ring, so
we don't know when Max Caster was attacked.
True.
Yeah.
Next up, we had we have a video of the EVPs arriving, and then the best friends arrive with Sue. Then we go to Renee interviewing Willow in the crowd instead of out the back. Like they were on the stage with the crowd. Found that rather interesting.
I did too.
Willow calls herself a freak and that she's happy and she found herself in Worcester. Mercedes obviously comes out to confront Willow and then says that whoever wins at Dynasty is going to face her at Double or Nothing.
So I was a little confused about that. I mean, like, are we gonna have to wait to see Mercedes wrestle until then?
Yep. By the looks of it, we are waiting until she has turned around and not like, so she's probably not going to wrestle until that point. Like, obviously she's not getting anything at Dynasty, and we have to wait until Double or Nothing, which is probably going to be against Willow. Like, I think they kind of slipped up and made this now TBS title match at Dynasty a situation where Willow has to win because you've had Mercedes and Willow feuding this whole time.
It's true.
Like, so unless we're going to get some sort of crazy ass turn and we're going to get some situation where Julia retains and then Mercedes faces Julia, and that's when Willow turns on and becomes a heel at Double or Nothing.
I don't know, man. Like I said, I was very interested just because I saw that, you know, she had mentioned that, and I was like, you know, there hasn't been much talk of her like doing anything in the ring. Yeah. I'm sure they could. I mean, you know, AEW is not really like that where they're like, oh, so-and-so is going to be, you know, having in-ring action in 2 weeks or in a week or whatever. Yeah. You know, they'll kind of announce their marquee matches. So who knows? She may get a match before that time. I can't imagine her sitting on the sidelines until
Double or Nothing. Yeah.
May. Okay. Yeah. I feel like are they real? I find that odd that AEW is going to do back-to-back like that. Interesting.
Well, they did last year with All In and All Out.
Oh yeah, that's right.
A week apart. And they're doing that again this year as well. They're doing All In and All Out a week apart. Because
bold strategy.
They're following Tony has said he wants to follow the bank holidays, what they call it in the UK. He wants to do the bank holiday weekend for All In, and then he wants to do the holiday weekend in the US for All Out. Which it's a bold fucking strategy.
Yep.
Like, and it's big fucking money to pull in and work around. Like,
yeah,
it makes sense that the talent was fucking angry and tired.
Yeah.
They were working the fucking shows.
That's real glass, by the way.
You signed an NDA in regards to that.
No, I don't think. According to according to Punk and everything he said to Ariel Helwani, he did not sign an NDA for that because he spilled all the beans on that one.
Well, he was, from what I heard in that interview, he also said that he was ready to, like, they wanted to save him for Royal Rumble, and he was like, "No, I'm good to go, like instantly." Like, and that's why he was there at Survivor Series.
Yeah, because Nick Khan assumed that when you because Nick Khan assumed that when you're terminated from a wrestling company that you would have a non-compete clause, and Punk didn't have a non-compete clause. So that's why
he was fired and he wasn't released from his contract. He was terminated with cause, which at the end of the day, if you're fired with cause, you don't have any non-compete clause. You can go wherever the fuck you want and work.
Yeah.
Like, it's like if you were working at your call center and they fired you, they can't turn around and tell you, no, you can't go work at another fucking call center.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I'm fair fucking game right now. You don't like it? Suck this one.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you know that there's some indie promotions over here in America that make their guys do non-competes?
Fuck off.
I'm dead fucking serious, dude.
What the hell?
There is an indie promotion that is in not South. It's in eastern Missouri, eastern Illinois. Kind of like right over the border of Missouri and Illinois, where they say where he's told, and he's been a promoter for like 50 fucking years. He's old as dirt. But he tells this talent, like, yo, you're not allowed to work another indie promotion within 50, 60 miles of me.
Fucking Christ.
Which is mind fucking.
Like, look, when I was back doing the band stuff, if we got asked to play a big show, like with a big name band, we weren't allowed to play shows for 2 weeks either side of it, because obviously you want to maximize the amount of people coming out to that show. So they want you to be able to bring all your fans to that show. So completely understandable if it's 2 weeks in your home state. But if you're talking like, I can't play a show in another state, get fucked. Or with, like, that's going to be outside the area where people are going to come in and travel in, that's fucked.
Yeah. And that it's wild, dude. Like, I mean, especially because, indie wrestlers are getting paid, anywhere between $60 to $200. I mean, just depending on your experience and blah, blah, blah. Some more, whatever. But the guys that run his promotion, I can't imagine are getting paid more than $100. And you've got the nerve to tell. I don't know, man. If in another one of
like, if you were booking it and you said to them, can you please not wrestle for 2 weeks before my show, understandable. Or like 2 weeks before and maybe a week after, just to maximize your crowd, understandable. But if you're saying, no, you can't fucking wrestle at all in the area, get fucked.
It's an old school territory thing, and it's been instilled in some of the younger guys. But yeah, man, like I said, there's a certain promotion, and he's got a bunch of old fat guys that work there, that are out there wrestling, and he's like, oh, you can't work. Number one, never mind, I'm not gonna say that. My bad. It's getting late. It's getting late, and I'm gonna start letting loose. But no, I mean, it's like
booted off YouTube.
No, I wouldn't get booted off of YouTube, but I might have some angry text. I might have some angry text messages in the morning from people that are like, "Did you really fucking say that?" Yeah, I did. Bro.
Henry says, I heard of an indie in Chicago that would get pissed if talent wrestled for another promotion.
The promotion that I'm talking about is not close to Chicago, but it's in the same state. It's in the same state.
I can understand if you've built a talent in your promotion and they piss off and like if they no-show you, like if they no-show your show, completely fucking different story.
Completely. But we're talking about guys. We're talking about guys that will consistently come and work for you every month, maybe twice a month. But you know, you're talking about that's interesting that Henry said that. Interesting.
I'm going to put that up because I don't want you to get in trouble.
Thank you. My man. But it is interesting that he says that. So because I know some people that have worked there and they work in St. Louis. So
you don't need to apologize, C. Henry.
Oh, yeah, no, don't apologize. Henry, it's not you that has to apologize. It's me. I have a history. So
you're not wrong.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Oh.
See, Henry lives in Chicago and heard the story.
Okay. So well, Henry assumed that I lived in PA, and I assumed when Henry said that, I assumed that Henry lived in PA.
No. No. So there we go.
So here's a funny story, Henry. Their champion worked my show. Yeah. It was Davey Vega. Davey Vega worked my show. Well, you know, I mean, we're not gonna go into all that, so that's why, like, I was very kind of shocked to hear that, just because, you know.
Christ.
Oh well. Fuck me.
And he hasn't even been drinking.
I know. I'm stone cold sober. I'm just there's a few screws loose up there. You've got to have a few screws loose to, number one, you got to have a few screws loose to be a wrestling fan. Number two, you got to have a few screws loose to start a wrestling promotion. So I check all those boxes. So yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah. Now we know.
Absolutely.
Getting back to where we were, do you think Mercedes waiting until Double or Nothing is a smart move, or is it something that they should maybe put her in to build her up a little bit?
I think that if this was WWE, it would be the right move. Yep. I think that with it being AEW, I think that there was a lot of criticism surrounding Mercedes coming in.
Yeah.
Unwarranted. It was not from me, but obviously if you have social media or you scroll on social media, you will know that dude, my mustache is bugging me because it looks like I have a tooth missing. Anyways, if you get on the internet and scroll, you know that wrestling fans were really critical of Mercedes for whatever reason. You can say it was because she's a woman. You can say it was because, you know, she wasn't as good as she's not. Yeah, she's not as good as she thinks she is. She thinks she's worth a lot, And I'm not here to argue that she is, and I'm not here to argue that she's not. But what I will say is that there was a lot of criticism following that. And I don't think it's going to do her any favors, or depending on how AEW wants to book her. I don't think it'll do any favors to have her sit on the sidelines until that, until Double or Nothing.
Yeah. I agree. I think it won't help them in that regard. I think they should give her at least 1 or 2 matches to build up the momentum and for people to go, okay, is she worth the money? And clearly she's going to bring eyes on the product because of people knowing Sasha Banks and all that. But
absolutely.
But you've got to make sure that it was that it is value for money, because at the end of the day, are they going to stick around to watch her wrestle? Like, are those eyes going to stick around to watch her wrestle, or are they going to just stick around for her talking and stuff like that?
Well, so here's what I've kind of noticed about it. Your AEW fans are super excited she's there. Obviously with the crowd noise, her music and how people get into it and whatnot, the AEW fans are there. Like, they're super excited to have her, as they should be. I think she's a star. I'm not going to argue. I'm not going to argue for or against if she's worth the money that AEW paid her.
Yeah.
They paid her a lot of money. And when you pay somebody like let's take Adam Copeland, for example. You bring Adam Copeland in, what are you hoping to accomplish? You are hoping to accomplish, number one, that your current fan base is going to be super excited that you brought in Adam Copeland. And then you're also hoping to bring eyes that weren't on your product. That was watching Edge in WWE, and that was like, well, Edge is in AEW now, so I'm going to go watch AEW. I feel like, and just because this is the vibe, the energy I've gotten from fans online, that because Sasha Mercedes thought that she was worth so much and left WWE, that a lot of those people aren't going to follow her to AEW. I could be wrong. He could draw she could draw major ratings for AEW. And I hope she does. I hope she fucking knocks it out of the park. I hope she proves everybody wrong. But
like, back in the day when we did this show together, back when we would talk about WWE and her, like, I was never a massive fan of her. I was never a massive fan, but I also know that she pulls numbers. She pulls people in, and people support what she does. Same with Bianca Belair. Same with Charlotte. As much as I may not like them, in my personal opinion, like, they're not for me, but they pull numbers. They pull people's eyes to the product.
The other gigantic elephants in the room is number one, she's a woman. So my whole thing has always been, nobody had a problem with Stone Cold walking out twice. And everybody's counter argument to that is
Sasha Banks.
Sasha Banks is not Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah, but they also say that she threw tantrums backstage and all that sort of shit, which we don't know. We weren't there.
Exactly.
That's all things that we've heard. We don't know.
But my biggest thing is like, keep the same energy, right? Okay. If Sasha threw a bunch of fits backstage, who else threw fits backstage?
Brock fucking Lesnar.
He
threw the fucking belt at Vince McMahon and walked out. Stone Cold Steve Austin had a fucking tantrum of losing to Brock Lesnar on a Monday Night Raw. I get it, but at the same time,
we covered Austin walking out twice, but I mean, even people who stayed that were that were considered bad attitude people. Sean.
Yep.
Sean,
definitely.
You know, I can't think of more, but I know there was more of people who had a little bit of an ego and whatnot. And I think that, I'm not accusing anybody of it, but I just think that the significant difference between the two has to do with her gender.
You're not wrong. You are not wrong. I think a lot of people look at women, especially in the wrestling industry, and they look at them more as eye candy rather than talent. They look at them as they shouldn't be so upset about having this position.
I'll tell you what, man. One of my biggest pet peeves is there's an old school mentality of a lot of people in this business who don't think that women can put on as good of wrestling matches as men. And I think that is the most asinine thing I've ever heard.
100%.
I got back into wrestling. I took a couple years hiatus. When Sean retired, I took a year, maybe two high. I took a hiatus until the pipe bomb. And then I got kind of interested during the pipe bomb. And then I took another hiatus after that played its course. But I started to watch regularly again with NXT and Bayley and Sasha. That feud reeled me back in, and still to this day is one of the best matches I've ever seen. So that's what I worry about. I worry about that there's going to be a lot of neck-bearded dudes on the internet watching AEW going, she's not as big of a star as she thought she was.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
And I'm worried that might damage her stride. So, in my opinion, I think that the biggest thing for them to do would for her to have some tune-up matches on some Dynamites or some Collisions.
Yeah. We need to keep moving this forward because we're almost at the 2-hour mark, and
shit,
another epic episode. We next had the EVPs versus Best Friends in the tag team title tournament with Sue at ringside. They get the Bucks give Cassidy and Trent power bombs on the apron. They miss the EVP trigger on OC, but then they win using the exposed turnbuckle that they exposed earlier in the night, or in the match, I should say. I honestly thought that we could have seen a bit of a swerve here and seen the Best Friends keep going, but then they pull that out and put the Bucks into the main or into the tag title final, and at the end we get Trent attacking Orange Cassidy. What did you think of that?
I thought it was predictable the way they set it up. It was still cool to watch. It's kind of like one of those, like, oh man, Best Friends are broke up now.
But you've still got what's his name? Not Trent Beretta,
Chuck.
The other guy. Chuck Taylor's opinion on where he stands now.
Yeah. So which will be kind of cool to see what they do with that. I've always felt like Trent kind of stood out. So like that's why it just wasn't a huge shock to me, and the way they set it up, I was like somebody's gonna hit somebody.
I was waiting for it, and I was like, when he kicked him, I was like, "Fuck!" Did not expect it to be a boot to the face.
I'm like, in my opinion, I kind of would have preferred it to be Orange, that did it. But you know, like I said, it still worked out. My biggest
But
thing,
because Orange is such a big baby face, it's a bit harder to do that.
it is, but that's why it would have been better. Is because they, you know, Orange has been a hot baby face since the dawn of AEW. So to watch him, I mean, like, to watch Mr. I don't care, I'm just here
To all of a
to,
sudden, yeah.
well, not to care, but to all of a sudden, or to hit him and be like, I don't care, we're not best friends anymore. Now, I don't know. I think I would have liked that a little bit better, but I I'll tell you what, man, I really wasn't too invested in it. And I'll tell you why. Raz, can you tell me or can you remind me how I felt about the Young Bucks around this time last year?
You loved them so much.
I
Loved them
couldn't
absolutely
stand.
so much.
I
And you
couldn't
loved
stand.
the fact that they used your favorite song ever
Uh, so
to carry on your wayward
yeah,
son.
yeah. So funny. I absolutely love what they've done with the EVP character. I just
Yep.
love it. The over tan,
Yep.
them making the weird decisions. The only thing missing, and I was talking to somebody about this, and I was like, you know what I would really love if they did? I would really love if they did like a steak segment. Like, and somebody was like, "Oh, well, Brody Lee did that," and I was like, "Yeah, I know, but it would be a nice touch to
Yep.
Brody, and then also a way to make fun of Vince."
Yep.
I love it. I love everything that they've done. I love their promos they cut. I love how they antagonize stuff. I've just done a
Yep.
complete 180 on the Bucks.
Fair enough.
So love
And
what
look,
they're doing.
I think it's brilliant that they've done what they've done and that they've been able to go from being a tag team that was not so much hated, but people disliked because of the brawl out situation, to now being hated because they are the EVPs.
Yeah.
Like I think it's been worked really well.
Yes.
Moving on from that, we went to Thunder Rosa versus Mariah May for number one contendership for the women's title. This was kind of predictable, this match.
Yeah.
I do like that at the end, Thunder wanted to have the match there and then for the title, but obviously we're getting that at the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Backstage, you have Pentel Zero Miedo calling out Adam Copeland for a TNT title match. Brilliant. I'm glad to see he's getting a title match. I think that's well deserved. We then move on to the final segment of the night, the World Championship contract signing with Samoa Joe and Swerve Strickland. Joe signs the contract, then gets on the microphone, basically says that he's the big dog in the yard and that he doesn't want to, he ain't going to give up without a fight. You get them pushing each other. Swerve goes to choke out Joe with the chain before signing the contract, obviously. Joe breaks the choke out and then wraps it around his hand, beats the crap out of Swerve, opens him up kind of the hard way. It wasn't very fucking easy.
Yeah.
And then Swerve signs the contract in blood. And we end the show with Joe powerbombing Swerve through the table.
Any chance that title changes hands?
I thought it wouldn't change hands till Double or Nothing, but I think with how hot Swerve is getting, there is a potential that it changes hands.
You know, and I'm gonna be careful on how I say this. I love that about AEW. I think that it is okay every once in a while to give the fans exactly what they want.
Yeah.
Whereas, WWE, with it being a little bit more structured, it is
Yeah.
kind of like a, hey, like this is, they very rarely change course.
Yeah.
Um,
Like, I ain't gonna lie, I've said this in recently. I don't think Roman's losing the belt at Mania.
that's a different conversation for a different time. We'll be here all night.
Yeah.
We're already approaching 2 hours, my guy.
Yeah. Like that's what I think is happening. I don't think that the story is finished because they're talking about history being made, and there's a lot more to go into that. And we'll, as you said, we'll be here for too fucking long. Let's not do that.
But I think that with the prime example, Tony Storm. When Tony Storm introduced the timeless Tony Storm character, it was so hot and it was so over. There was no other choice but to put that belt on her. And I think it's I think that's what we're gonna see with Swerve. Which, by the way, that show is 2 days before my birthday, and it's in St. Louis, so it's only a 4-hour drive. So I don't know. I might.
Chase will be on screen.
Yeah, I might fuck around and go to that show.
Not just your YouTube screen. He'll be on an actual TV screen.
Exactly. I might fuck around and go to that show since I bitched out on Mania this year.
Yeah. Look, I think we're going to end it here because we are, as I said, getting really close to the 2-hour mark. Thank you so much for coming in, Chase.
Yes, I appreciate you letting me invade your show. I appreciate you letting me take up a lot of time on your show. It was really awesome to catch up and shoot the shit and talk wrestling. So
100%.
I don't do
you take them with you to the show in St. Louis.
Let me know, man. Let me know. It's funny. I don't do a whole lot of these shows anymore. And my poor wife has been subjected to me just filling her brain with wrestling. It's like those memes where the guy's got his arm around the girl and he's like, listen, this is this and this is this. Like, man, yeah. Henry, I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that a lot. If you're only in the Illinois area, make your way over, man. Make your way over. No, in all seriousness, if you are in the Illinois area, St. Louis Anarchy runs in Alton, Illinois, and it is one of my favorite promotions. I think they do phenomenal stuff. So if you're ever at a St. Louis Anarchy show, let me know, because I will more than likely be there as well. So,
Chase, before we get out of here, have you got anything you want to plug and you want to showcase to anyone?
No, I hate how you put me center screen here because I don't have anything. CR Media.
Tell us about FCP.
Oh yeah. Fountain City Pro. You guys can check it out. FountainCityPro.com, Fountain City Pro on all social medias. You'll find us. YouTube. We have the full show of our first event, which was March 8th, called Light It Up. Our second show, Bombs Over Ball. It's a play on the old Outcast song, B.O.B. Bombs Over Baghdad. It will be May 10th We do not live stream right now. We record it and edit it and post and then post it online. But it gets put up within the week. So obviously anybody here who's not in the Kansas City area, you guys can definitely, like I said, go check that out. Any likes on social media, follows would be greatly appreciated. I think we're almost at 1,000 followers on Facebook, which is awesome.
There you go.
I don't think anything I've ever done on social media has hit. Actually, I take that back. TikTok, I hit 1,000 followers on TikTok, I think. But other than that, that's probably my most successful, which of course, I mean, that's what I want. So, but yeah, check that out. And,
you can find the link in the chat if you want to go check out the video on YouTube. It's in the chat.
Yeah.
So I added it to the chat. So did Kai. Thank you. We're going to get out of here. We're going to get out of here before the 2-hour mark hits.
Oh, man.
Thank you so much for being with me, Chase. I really do appreciate it. Thank you, everyone in the chat, for being here. And I love to see all you guys here. I should be back next week. Hopefully, Stephen will be back with me. If not, maybe Chase will be back. Maybe ABJ. Who knows? We'll see how it goes. But
absolutely,
thank you, everyone, for coming along. And have a wonderful evening. I've been Raz. That's been Chase. Goodbye and good night. Bang.